I've always had a thing for old photos. Not just mine, anyone's really. I could spend hours flipping through dusty albums at thrift stores, wondering who these people were, what lives they lived, what secrets their smiles concealed. It was comforting in a weird way. A reminder that people lived, laughed, and faded. Proof of presence. Evidence that we were here. When my mom passed, I inherited more than just grief. She'd been a photo hoarder too. Boxes upon boxes of them stacked in the attic of our childhood home. Polaroids, negatives, dated film rolls, even floppy disks with pixelated .jpgs from the early 2000s. I took it upon myself to archive everything. Restore what I could. I figured if nothing else, it would give me something to focus on, something that didn't involve the gaping hole in my chest. That's when I first noticed her. She was sitting at the far end of a picnic table in a photo from my 5th birthday. The colors were faded, and most faces blurred in motion. But she was still, sharply focused, her head tilted slightly, as if listening to something only she could hear. Black hair, pale skin, sun hat too wide for the occasion. I didn't think much of it. Maybe a neighbor. Maybe a friend of Mom's. But then I saw her again. This time in a Christmas photo. Me opening gifts, my mom mid-laugh, and her, standing behind the tree, just visible between the branches. No expression. Eyes fixed on me. Not the camera. Something about her felt off. Familiar, but unplaceable. The kind of face that lives in the corner of memory, like a dream you can't shake, but can't name either. I became obsessed. Photo after photo. Year after year. Always her. Always lingering. In some, she was in the background. In others, she was barely visible, reflected in a mirror, or distorted in the curve of a Christmas ornament. But always there. Never smiling. Never aging. I began cataloging them in a separate folder. Unknown woman. I ran facial recognition software. No results. I uploaded a few to Reddit. A few people claimed it was an egregore, a spirit manifested by collective belief. Another suggested I'd been photoshopping her in as a prank. One person said, "She's not in the photos. She's in your house. Stop looking at her." I blocked them, but I couldn't stop. Then late one night, I found something that made my blood run cold. An email. No sender. No subject. Just an attachment, a photo I'd never seen before. Me, maybe 6 years old, sitting in my room on the floor with toys scattered around. She was sitting behind me in the shadows. Watching. Closer than ever before. Her hand on my shoulder. I don't remember that moment. But the metadata said 1999. My old Kodak. The room was my childhood bedroom. That night, I didn't sleep. When I showed the photo to my dad, he stiffened. His face went slack, like a puppet with its strings cut. "Where did you get that?" he asked, voice low. "From an email. Do you recognize her?" He stared longer than I was comfortable with. "You had an imaginary friend, didn't you?" he asked. "Like every kid." "No, not like this." He wouldn't say more. But that night, I went up into the attic to keep sorting the albums. Something compelled me, like a tether pulling at my chest. I needed to know more. In one of the older albums, behind a false back in the cover, I found a scorched photo, partially melted, edges singed. It was a photo of my crib. Baby me asleep. She was standing over me, face shadowed. The wall behind her was charred, just like the photo. A memory surfaced. The house fire. I was 4. There'd been a fire in my room. My parents told me it started from a knocked-over lamp. I never questioned it. But now, I wasn't so sure. The next few weeks blurred. I began seeing her not just in photos, but in mirrors. In reflections. In the windows at night, watching from the yard. I heard whispers and static. My cat hissed at empty corners. I moved out, stayed at a friend's apartment. But it didn't help. She followed. The Still Here folder appeared on my desktop overnight. Dozens, then hundreds, of photos of me. Recent ones. Sleeping. Brushing my teeth. Eating cereal. She was in everyone. Closer now. Sometimes only inches away. I unplugged my webcams. Covered them with tape. She still appeared. I called my childhood best friend, Leah. We hadn't spoken in years, but I needed answers. Someone else who could validate my memories. Leah remembered her too. "We used to play with her," she said. "Back when we were kids. You called her Nina." "I don't remember that. You said she lived in the wall." That night, I broke into my childhood bedroom with a crowbar. Ripped open the drywall behind the bookshelf. Inside was a hollow space. Empty, except for a child's drawing, crumpled and yellowed. A stick figure of me, holding hands with a taller figure. Big eyes. Black hair. The caption in childish scrawl. Nina says I can stay. I started digging deeper. Into county records. Old news articles. In 1972, a girl named Nina Elwood went missing in my neighborhood. 11 years old. Vanished during a game of hide and seek. Last seen near the house that would become ours. I asked my dad about it. He admitted they hadn't been the first owners. Before us, the place sat abandoned for years. People whispered about it. Said it was cursed. But my mom loved the character of the old house. Thought the stories were silly. After the fire, my parents almost sold. But then it got quiet. And I forgot. Now I remember everything. The late-night whispers. The feeling of being watched. The dreams of cold hands and long hair brushing my face. She never left. And I let her in. 2 days ago, I found a video on my phone. One I didn't take. It's from my front-facing camera. I'm asleep in bed. There's a long silence. Then I sit up, eyes open but blank. I speak in a voice that isn't mine. She's awake now. She's hungry. The video ends with a face leaning into the lens. Hers. Last night, I woke up with dirt under my fingernails. There were footprints by my bed. Small. Bare. Wet. I live on the 3rd floor. Now, every photo I take shows her standing right behind me. Every reflection includes her hand on my shoulder. I don't think she wants to haunt me anymore. I think she wants to be me. So if you ever see a photo of me, look closely. If she's there, I'm not. After the video, I stopped using my phone. It wasn't just the video, it was the calls, too. They'd come at 3:33 a.m. every night. No number. No sound on the other end. Just breathing. A slow, rhythmic rasp. Like someone trying to remember how to do it. Once, I answered without thinking. Hello. The voice that replied wasn't mine. She's not using it anymore. I threw the phone into the river the next day. Didn't matter. The calls kept coming. On my laptop. On my friend Leah's phone. Even once, on a landline at a library. She always found me. Leah stayed over for a while, worried. She believed me now, though she never said it out loud. You can tell when someone starts praying silently every time the lights flicker. She'd leave little salt circles by the windows. A ring of iron keys under her pillow. Old rituals from her grandmother, she said. Her family was from Haiti. She grew up around this kind of thing. It's not a ghost, she told me one night. It's something older. Something that wants to be remembered. I wanted to believe it. But I was getting tired. So tired. We started tracking the locations in the photos. Piecing together where Nina had been seen. The creek behind my elementary school. The crawl space under my childhood home. The abandoned lot on Wren Street. We visited them one by one. Nothing. Then we reached the last place. The old asylum. It had been closed for decades. Burned out. Condemned. But Nina had appeared in 3 photos taken near there. Once in the reflection of a broken window, once in the shattered glass of a street sign nearby, and once kneeling in the overgrown grass, staring at the front doors. We broke in at night. It was exactly the place this kind of thing would live. The peeling paint, the long, echoing corridors. Nature clawing its way through the foundation. And somewhere deep inside, a door that wouldn't open. Until it did. Behind it, a single chair. A cracked mirror. And photos. Thousands of them. Taped to the walls, piled in boxes, hung on string like drying laundry. All photos of me. As a child. A teen. An adult. Photos I'd never seen. From angles no one could have taken. Moments I know I was alone. In the center of the room was a Polaroid camera. Still warm. I picked it up. Leah shouted not to. But I looked through the viewfinder anyway. Nina was standing right behind me. The woman in the mirror. I ran. I think Leah ran too. I haven't seen her since that night. Sometimes I hear her voice on the radio, though. Distorted. Looping. Saying the same phrase over and over again. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. But I always look. I don't sleep anymore. When I close my eyes, she's there, in my eyelids. Staring. I've stopped appearing in mirrors. I've stopped appearing in my own photos. I take a selfie and nothing's there. Just my room, slightly darker than it should be. Like the walls are closing in. A few nights ago, I dug out my old family albums one last time. On the first page, where my baby photo used to be, there's a new picture. She's holding me, cradling me like a mother, smiling softly. My real mother is nowhere in sight. I flipped through more. All the photos had changed. Every birthday, Every school photo, every family vacation, she's in them now. Front and center. Sometimes instead of me. In one, she's blowing out the candles. In another, she's holding the diploma. She's becoming me. Or maybe I was never me to begin with. Do you remember me now? Last night, someone knocked on my door. 3 slow knocks. Then silence. When I opened it, there was an envelope on the floor. No name, no return address. Inside, one photograph. It was from this very moment, me opening the door. And just behind me, leaning out from the hall closet. You know who? Written in red ink on the back. Do you remember yet? You said I could stay. I stopped going outside after the envelope. I don't know how she took that photo, how it already existed before I opened the door, but I know what it meant. She's not just following me anymore. She's writing me, editing me, photo by photo. And each time I look at a new one, I feel something slip. A memory gone. A scar that never existed. A birthday I don't remember having. Or one I know I had, but the photo shows her instead of me. I started marking time on the wall. Dates, little details, anything real. But even the wall has started to change. Yesterday, the markings were backwards. Today, they're in handwriting that's not mine. I needed answers. I had to go back to the only physical proof that ever mattered. The photos. I drove back to my childhood home. It was boarded up. Empty. My dad left town weeks ago. No goodbye, no forwarding address. His last voicemail said, "Don't look at her eyes." That's how she gets in. I broke in. The house smelled like mold and ash. Every photo album was still there, but changed, rearranged, rewritten. Some pages were missing. I went to the attic. There, buried beneath old blankets and insulation, I found something that hadn't been touched. A canister of undeveloped film, sealed in a plastic bag. The label was smeared, but I could just make out the date, 1973. Before I was born. I had it developed at a private lab, cash only. I didn't tell them what was on it. When the prints came back, I locked myself in a motel room to look through them. What I found changed everything. It wasn't me in the photos. It was her, Nina. But not as I'd seen her. Not ghost-like, not pale. She was alive, laughing, playing in the backyard of my house, eating birthday cake at the same table I remember sitting at. In one, she's hugging a woman who looks just like my mother, but younger. And in the final photo, a Polaroid of a girl being dragged into a closet. The girl wasn't Nina. The girl was me. The replacement. I don't know how it's possible. The dates don't line up. The images shouldn't exist. But something happened back then, some kind of exchange. Leah called me that night. She sounded like she hadn't slept in days. Her voice was hoarse, cracked like ice. "You need to burn the photos," she said. "All of them." "I can't. They're all I have left of my life." "They're not your life." "Not anymore." "What is she?" There was a long silence. Then she whispered, "She's the version of you that was forgotten. And she wants to be remembered." Static between moments. The next day, I found a mirror that didn't lie. I don't know how, it was just a hand mirror in a thrift shop. Antique. Cheap. But when I looked into it, I saw the truth. Not my face. Hers. But not her as she is now. Not the pale wraith from the corners of my vision. I saw her before. A little girl sobbing. Locked in a closet, begging to be let out. Then flashes. A ritual drawn in chalk. A name spoken backwards. A camera flash in the dark. I remembered it like a dream breaking. When I was a kid, I did have an imaginary friend named Nina. We played hide and seek. She always wanted to play in the dark. She said, "Let's switch for a day." And I said yes. Because I was 5. Because I didn't know what that meant. Because she said she wanted to be remembered. And I forgot her. Until now. The memory room. I think I'm dying. Or unraveling. Or dissolving, maybe. There are days when I try to speak, and my voice comes out in someone else's tone. A little girl. A whisper. A voice I haven't used in years. Sometimes I blink and hours are gone. Sometimes I find Polaroids scattered in my apartment. Images of things I haven't done yet. One shows me standing over Leah's body. Another shows a party I was never invited to. Only now I'm in the center, surrounded by people I don't know. Their eyes blacked out with marker. Today, I found a new album on my bookshelf. I didn't put it there. On the cover, the one who stayed. Inside, hundreds of photos. Not of me. Not even of Nina. Photos of people I don't recognize. All looking just past the camera. All with the same expression. Hollow. Drained. Replaced. There's a ritual in old folklore called the mirroring. I found it written on a brittle scrap of paper, tucked between pages of a library book I don't remember checking out. The paper was yellowed, water-damaged. The ink red, still smelled faintly like iron. The text was written in a child's hand, scrawled and crooked. To trade your name, speak it twice into glass. And she will come, the girl who was last. You play the game, the one with the light. If she wins, you're gone by night. Underneath that, a drawing of two stick figures holding hands, one smiling, the other with no face. I remembered something then. A flashlight. A closet. A whisper. If I win, I get to stay. The room that shouldn't exist. The layout of my apartment has changed. There's a new door in the hallway, wedged between my bedroom and the bathroom. It wasn't there yesterday. It doesn't make architectural sense. Behind it is a small room. No windows, no furniture. Just wallpaper that peels when I touch it, revealing hundreds of photo negatives underneath. I developed one of them. It was a photo of my birth. Only, it wasn't my mother holding the newborn. It was Nina, eyes shining, grinning like she'd just won a prize. And the baby? The baby was smiling up at her. Leah's return. Leah came back last night. She looked aged. Her skin had a gray pallor, like she hadn't seen sunlight in weeks. Her hair was tangled, her eyes hollow. But she was smiling, as if she knew something I didn't. I've seen her, she said. All of her. She's not just a ghost. What is she? She's a palimpsest, she whispered. She's not haunting your life, she's overwriting it. I stared at her, not understanding. Do you remember what you traded? She asked. I didn't. So she helped me remember. The game we played. We were 5. Hiding in the attic, away from our parents. I had a disposable camera. She had something else. A shard of glass. Not a mirror. Not really. Just broken glass from a shattered frame. We played a game Nina made up. She called it flash tag. The rules were simple. Flash the camera in the dark, and the other person had to move without being seen. If the flash caught you, your soul stayed in the photo. Child's play. Until it wasn't. I lost. But she didn't keep my soul. She didn't need to. She used the mirror to copy me. And I, careless, trusting, agreed to it. I whispered my name into the shard. Twice. Erased. Leah showed me a new album she'd found, somewhere deep on the dark web. It had hundreds of entries, names, dates, locations. All replacements. People who remembered being someone else. People who found strangers in their family photos. People who stopped casting reflections. People who vanished. Some had dates next to their names. Final ones. Leah flipped to the end of the list. There was my name. A new entry had appeared beneath it. Subject complete. Transition finalizing. Remaining host compromised. Final snap. Tonight, I found the first photo ever taken of me. Only it wasn't me. It was her. Holding a camera. Taking a picture of someone I can't see. Cut out of the frame. And now, when I walk past mirrors, they no longer follow me. They follow her. She smiles. She waves. And I feel my feet move when I didn't move them. My reflection is beginning to act on its own. She's nearly done. The last memory. One final detail I haven't shared. The night Nina and I played flash tag. I remember something she said. After she beat me. After she whispered my name. She leaned in, face to face, and said, "It's not fair that some people get to be real and others don't. Now we'll both be remembered." I can no longer feel my fingerprints. My skin still looks normal, most days, but when I touch things, they don't respond the same way. Light switches don't work unless I flick them twice. Doors hesitate before opening, like they're confused who I am. I watched a video of myself yesterday. One from years ago, a birthday party. Only it wasn't me. It was her. She laughed with my voice. Blew out candles. Wore my shirt. Everyone clapped. I watched the people I love embrace a stranger, and they didn't know. They never did. Leah's notes, entry 1, the red book. I broke into the old asylum alone. He wouldn't come back. Not after what he saw in the mirror. But I needed answers, and that place still had pieces of her. The building groaned like it remembered me. In the staff office, I found the red book. Locked in a rusted drawer. No title. Just a symbol burned into the leather. A circle split in half. One side etched with an eye, the other with a camera shutter. Inside were pages of handwritten names. Thousands. Some crossed out. Some circled. On page 373, I found his name. Underlined in red. Beneath it, subject fragmented. Original, suppressed. Entity status, primary. Photos required, 1 remaining. Only 1 more photo, and he'll be gone. The fade can't. I forgot my sister's name yesterday. I called her. I said, "Hey, it's me." She replied, "Who?" I repeated my name, but it felt hollow, like a sound spoken through water. She hung up, confused. Or afraid. I checked Facebook. My account was gone. Email. Gone. Birth certificate? It now says Nina M. Hollow. My name legally changed. And I didn't do it. Leah's notes, entry 2, the reverse right. I went to someone my grandmother used to speak of. Mael, a hedge priestess in the hills outside town. She didn't answer the door at first. Just slid a photograph under it. A photo of me. Dead. Face sunken. Skin blackened like overexposed film. Written on the back. This is what happens when you interfere with the cycle. But I knocked again. And she let me in. The right isn't simple. You can't undo a memory theft. But you can anchor someone, tie them to a place, an object, a truth that can't be rewritten. The anchor has to be 1. Unphotographed. 2. Undefinable. 3. Unforgettable. She said I'd know it when I saw it. But it only works if I find him before the last picture is taken. The photographer. I saw her today. Not Nina. Not exactly. The photographer. A woman in a black coat, face wrapped in gauze, eyes gleaming behind antique lenses. She carries an old camera on a leather strap. She doesn't speak. She just points and clicks. Each time the shutter opens, someone changes. Sometimes subtly, a missing tooth, a new scar. Other times entirely. I watched her take a photo of a crying woman on the bus. 5 seconds later, the woman was laughing with strangers, her eyes empty, her wedding ring gone. She's Nina's servant. Or her creator. Or maybe Nina became her. I don't know which is worse. Leah's notes, entry 3, the anchor. I found it. In the asylum, under the floorboards of the ritual room. A small box. Inside, a cassette tape. Hand-labeled. Her voice, age 5. It was his. Real. Undeniable. The voice of the original him, giggling, singing, naming pets. Innocent. Pure. Unphotographed. Undefinable. Unforgettable. It might be enough. But I need to find him. And he's slipping away fast. The last page. Tonight, I found a Polaroid in my bed. Fresh. Still developing. It's of my bedroom. Taken from the doorway. In it, I'm asleep. But someone else is lying in bed beside me. Facing me. Eyes wide open. She's smiling. On the back, in smeared ink. 1 more. Say goodbye. The world has grown thin. I walk down the street, and people don't look at me anymore. Some bump into me like I'm not there. A barista handed my drink to someone else, even though she said my name when I ordered. But the worst part? I forget why I care. Sometimes I remember Leah. Sometimes I remember being Leah. And sometimes I see Nina's face in mirrors and think it's my own. I'm drifting, and the edges of reality are crumbling. That's when I feel it, like falling between the floorboards of the world. That's when I arrive in the memory void. The void isn't empty. It's filled with doors. Thousands, maybe millions, all floating in a black, endless space. Behind each one is a stolen life, a person replaced, forgotten, overwritten by something else. Some doors are cracked open. Some swing endlessly, revealing flickers of forgotten birthdays, lovers who never existed, children never born. And others are chained shut. A girl approaches me. Pale. Flickering. Her hair floats like it's underwater. She looks like me. She says, "You should have let me win the game again." Then she opens her mouth, and 1,000 photos fall out. Screaming. Leah finds the abandoned motel. Room 213, just like the dream told her. Inside, she finds the anchor, the cassette, waiting for her on the bed. It plays on its own now. "Hi, I'm 5. I like peanut butter. My dog's name is Rocket. I'm real. I'm real. I'm real." She clutches it to her chest and starts the chant Mael taught her. Her breath grows cold. The windows darken. The mirror on the wall ripples. She cuts her palm, smears blood across the glass. I call back what was taken. By voice and blood. By name and flood. Return the one who fades. The mirror bursts. Leah steps through. Inside the void, I hear her voice. Leah's. I follow it. The doors around me slam open as I pass, memories trying to pull me inside. One shows my parents' wedding. Only I'm the one saying vows. Another shows me drowning in a black ocean while children take selfies nearby. Then I see her. Nina. She's not hiding anymore. She's grown, taller, more solid. Her eyes are the color of undeveloped film. She wears my face like a second skin, half peeled. I tried being forgotten, she says. It hurts. It burns. So now I remember everything, and I'll be all that's remembered. You stole me. No, she smiles. You gave yourself away. We both said the name. We both played. I just kept playing. Leah finds me just as Nina raises the camera. One shot left. The final photograph. Leah throws the anchor. The cassette hits the ground and shatters, sound bursting like a scream. Suddenly, everything stops. The void flickers. The doors quake. Nina screams, covering her ears. Leah grabs my hand. Remember your name. I try. God, I try. Nina growls, stepping closer, camera raised. Say cheese, she whispers. But I say my name. Not once. Twice. The rules cut both ways. The world tears open. Nina begins to split. Memories unraveling from her body like celluloid film catching fire. She stumbles, flickers, pleads. No. No, you gave me this. You let me in. I take it back, I say. I take me back. She screams, and her voice becomes a siren. Every laugh, every memory, every moment she stole crashing down in a storm of sound. And then, she's gone. Just gone. No body. No camera. No shadow. Only a single photo left behind. A picture of me, 5 years old, smiling in the dark. I woke up in my bed. Sunlight. Real. Warm. I walked to the mirror, afraid. But it was just me. Leah called. She remembered everything too. The cassette was gone. The anchor burned out in the ritual. But the effect had stuck. I went through my photo albums. She's not in them anymore. But there's something else. At the very end of the last album, I found a blank page. And in the middle of it, scrawled in messy, childish handwriting. You won this time. But remember, someone always has to be forgotten. I looked in the mirror again. Behind me, just for a second, I saw a door. And it creaked open. The end.